Hey everybody, welcome back to part 3 of the boat floor redo. In this video, I finally get the floor done. Hi, I'm Dale, and this is Dale of All Trades. I'm constantly finding myself having to repair something, install something, or find out the hard way that something just isn't worth the money. So I figured I'd take you along for the ride, and hoping along the way to inspire you to try your hand at some repairs yourself. You can expect to see repairs, reviews, how-tos, and anything in between. A special thanks to anyone who has already subscribed. Please consider subscribing. The more the merrier in this journey. So let's figure out what's going on now and get to it. Welcome back everybody. As you can see, the boat floor is in and all done. A lot happens in this video, so stick around, watch the whole thing. There's lots of goodies and stuff to unpack in this video. Also, at one point I fall down, so that's fun. Keep an eye out for that. I will do the best I can to narrate you through all the steps it took me to get to this finished product in this video. Before we dive into this video though, go ahead and do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any more of my content moving forward. Also, if you haven't seen parts 1 and 2 to this project, I highly suggest watching them to get up to speed as to what's going on here. As always, all the videos in this series will be links in the description section. You can follow those to get up to speed on everything that's done. And anything used in this video to complete the process will be linked also. Materials, tools, etc. Okay, let's see how this floor got finished. Okay, since I last left you, I terrorized my dog a little bit by sweeping the garage out in preparation for the new flooring to lay down on a clean surface. I then began laying the new flooring out and discovered that it just did not want to stay flat. It just naturally wants to roll back up. So I gave it no choice. I laid the new floor out along with some extra pieces of lumber I had, and then found anything heavy I had laying around the shop to keep it forced down. Alright, I have had the foam flooring sitting like this overnight since the beginning of yesterday. It is flattened out pretty much as it's going to get. I could let it sit another day, but I think I'm going to cut it to shape. I also made an interesting discovery. My boat seating is not perfectly square in the boat, something I've discovered while laying this flooring out. I will show you here. So what I discovered is when you center the ski locker perfectly, kind of hard to see there, the floor is crooked here, but this spot lines up perfectly. Okay, kind of hard to see there, but you'll see what I mean when I get the floor actually installed. But before I can do that, I have to cut it, and that's what I'm going to do today, using the new floor as a template. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of extra room around most of the edges, just for error purposes. If I cut something a little wrong, I have a little bit of leeway, and it's always easier to take more material off than to put it back on. Also, this kind of goes without saying, but I still want to iterate it. Be sure you have the floor the correct way, the new flooring, plywood that is, and the foam flooring or whatever you're using to refloor your boat. You can only do this once, so take your time and really plan out everything. All right, let's get this thing cut. After spending a ridiculous amount of time getting the floor set just perfectly to make sure that the lines are going to be perfectly centered, I then proceeded to cut the floor as you see here. Now this is a sped up version of what I did. This is a very tedious project. I highly recommend you have time where no one's going to bother you and you can focus on the project at hand. Also, as you can see from this shot, is that my weight trick worked very well as to keeping the floor from wanting to naturally roll back up. After I was done with the cuts, I kept the floor on it and added more weight just to ensure that it would stay flat for the next day to adhere it onto the wood. I then cut and spray glued the additional pieces with some scrap flooring I had These are the pieces that are going next to the engine in the engine compartment that aren't really visual, but they are also repairing some slight other damages that I've touched on in the other videos. After the spray glue dried to a tacky touch, which I will touch on what glue I'm using later, I then glued the scrap piece of flooring onto the floor for later installation. Finally, the big moment. Not the biggest moment, but the big moment happened. Putting the foam flooring onto the new floor. What you will see in the next scene is when I put the floor on after the glue is tacky, I pull the backing away from the new floor, making it a little easier to install so that it doesn't just glue down right away, and then I can slowly peel that backing away as I press. Alright, enough voiceovers, let's just watch this get done. Okay, the big day is finally here. This is going in the boat. It was extremely tricky, as you could see, working with that adhesive foam flooring. It constantly wants to curl up on you because it's such big sheets you're working with and you're dealing with a lot of angles, so it's really hard to tell if you're perfectly straight, and I may have a couple surprises for me once I get it in the boat. Now, as you can also see, I flipped it upside down and put more weight on it just to be sure that that adhesive really sticks. Also, this is a good time to note what I used for an extra adhesive. On the floor itself, I used Super 77 by 3M. This is an amazing adhesive. It works really good. I've used it for headliner work, I've used it for carpeting in cars, etc. It has a lot of good uses. If you follow the directions, you're gonna have to really try to get whatever you're gluing back up. And as always, all the products I use that really matter in this video, I will have links to in the description section below in the video, along with the link of the series of all these videos so you can see step by step how I decided to do this boat floor. All right, let's get this thing flipped over and put in the boat. Finally. Okay, before I lift this up and in, there's one thing I want to do. I'm going to run a bead of silicone around the entire old portion of the floor. Now I am using super clear RTV silicone, and before you say it's not marine grade, it actually says right on the back, perfect for marine applications. So, before you can attack me in the comments. Okay, the next thing I have to do may be controversial. I put a lot of thought into it, and it is, I'm going to run screws through the new flooring to secure it. Now my original plan was to not pierce the new floor whatsoever, and that changed because one, after working with this EVA foam flooring, it would have been next to impossible to get it in here straight, even pre-cut, line it up and stick it perfectly once it was in the boat. I mean, you saw how hard it was just to get the plywood in, and then I had to trim my little excess off. It just would have been really hard. I'm going to run the stainless steel screws in through all the black spots, the black straight lines, to secure my floor, adjust that little thing in the back that was hanging me up, and then we're almost done. Okay, I'm done farting around. Now, I was just going around the edges, making some finishing touches, trimming stuff, re-siliconing stuff, and now I decided to change one little thing in a spot I left a lot of extra in because I thought I might do this. So it's where the driver's feet sit, there's a hump. So I trimmed the carpet off that. I'm gonna get my spray glue, glue it down, and then I can put the ski locker ring in. Okay, here we are. All I have to do is put the upgraded seat pedestal and seat in, and that completes this project. Let's get this thing in. I'm so excited to see the final 100% done product. Okay, so my plan with this is I'm going to pull up the information I showed you in the previous video that I wrote down before the floor was in. I'm going to measure out where the old seat went, place this here, make sure everything clears, and then make any adjustments that I may need to make and screw it down, making it permanent. 6 3/4. And just like that, it's done. Thank you all so much for coming with me on this journey of repairing my boat floor. I really didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I know now it was worth it, and I'm really happy I did it, and it's done. Now enjoy some of these beauty shots without me yapping. Alright, that's a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Come join me in part 4 of the boat floor refit, where I will be talking about some future plans for the boat, and I also want to touch on some of the things that didn't make it into the 3-part series of the boat floor redo, like some of the flaws and some things I had to tweak that just didn't make it into the video series that were affected by adding a new floor the way I did it. Also, I hope to touch on some of the questions you may be asking from the 3-part series. Also, one more time, please consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. And as always, I will see you in the next video.